I will say this is not an easy gig. This is a gig for the few who are choosing to do this as an independent contractor. So in my mindset, real estate is as pure as it comes to being an entrepreneur. And that's a blessing, and it's the worst curse on the planet because you're the boss.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm your host, Matt Fagioli, and today I am interviewing a North Carolina resident, which we don't always get to do. I'm so excited for you guys to meet my friend, Key Yassad. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well, my friend.
I love that you've been a North Carolina resident for a long time. I can't wait for the Triangle members to meet you. And can you kind of introduce yourself a little bit, please?
Yeah, my background is academic. I used to teach mathematics when I was younger and I had hair. But my forte is systems. And when I moved to North Carolina, which at the beginning I was not sure of, and then I fell in love with North Carolina, when I moved here, I got connected with business people who were in the real estate industry. And I could see how they were doing great sales, but their systems and their approach, the way to grow their business needed some honey, needed some work. So I got involved in this industry because I have a background in business management. I have a background in mathematical thinking, and I found a way to connect the two. And I started working with brokerages and members of the boards and agents. So I've developed the skill over 25 years. And the skill is very simple. I'm an activity coach. If you want result, Matt, tell me what you do. Don't tell me what you know. What you know is great. I don't question what you know. I never question people's knowledge. I want to question what you do. Tell me what you do today.
What does your calendar look like? Yeah.
Yeah. Show me your that's it. That's a great way to say it. Show me your calendar. Show me your actions today. Don't tell me the outcome of the actions. In fact, I'm not that interested in the outcome, because if you take the action long enough and you're coachable, the results will happen.
I got it. Yeah. Well, okay. But back to the basic intro part though, like, you've been a North Carolina resident for, I think, 20 plus years. And, tell me a little more, like, who is Key Yassad?
Oh man, that's a philosophical question. So who I am is somebody who wants to empower others, be their best self. And this is why I never talk people into real estate. I actually talk them out of it. I will say, this is not an easy gig. This is a gig for the few who are choosing to do this as an independent contractor. So in my mindset, real estate is as pure as it comes to being an entrepreneur. You don't have a boss. No one tells you what to do. And that's a blessing. And it's the worst curse on the planet because you're the boss. No one can make you do anything. You wake up when you want. You can watch Netflix until 2 a.m. So I'm an activity coach. I'm an accountability coach for my profession. For the things I like science. I like expanding. I like helping people think clearly. I love when people have a dilemma about how to make a decision and walk them through it. So I'm somebody who considers the industry as something akin to the best and the worst of entrepreneurship. And that's what I am. I'm an entrepreneur just like you are. And I respect that in people. I believe in small business. For me, being a realtor full time is a small business.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, well, you touched on accountability. And I think that, when you talk about the blessing and the curse of entrepreneurship, we all love the fact that, like, I'm my own boss and I can set my own schedule. And, but I think you could really boil it down to the fact that those who then choose accountability as a group are far more successful than those who are not willing to be held accountable. And then when you choose someone to hold you accountable, who also knows how to move your business forward, that's when coaching becomes meaningful, right? And it's interesting when you talk to people who have not been coached or not been well coached, and they don't appreciate the value of that relationship. And I would say that if you talk to somebody like me who has been coached, then there's no other, anytime you spend and you're not in a coaching relationship, you're going backwards.
But do you know why they think that? Can I illuminate that for a second?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
They think real estate is about information.
Mm-hmm.
They think it's some kind of tricks, things hidden behind some wall. And once you open that curtain and you see the information, the results will happen. They don't realize real estate is information heavy and empty. It's what you do that matters. It's how you. Now, I can coach somebody who makes mistakes more easily than somebody who wants information. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you want information, why are you talking to me? Talk to Google, talk to ChatGPT. They will give you information all day long. But becoming a practitioner of real estate means taking action. It means stepping outside your comfort zone. It means asking for business. It
Mm-hmm.
means having to deal with no. It means learning that no is part of the process. So it's not information driven, and there's information that you need. But most of them think a coach gives you information. No, a coach holds you accountable to how many push-ups you're going to do today.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, I think most people, I came into real estate having been in a sales career. And so I already had built that skill. But I think most people get into real estate and they think, like you said, it's about contracts and about like paperwork and like being a lawyer or something. And no, you're in the sales business. Selling yourself, selling your services.
Well said.
Business, you know, and I think it takes a long time. I think a lot of people wash out because they don't understand that's the business that we're all in here. And you know, of course you have to be, you know, diligent and excellent at things like contracts, but you know, we're in the sales business, which is a matter of reps. It's a matter of, you know, how many at bats and how many phone calls and how many, you know, unfortunately, those are the realities. And you know, a level up from that, you know, is the relationship level that I think there's the people who think it's about information. Then there's the people who make the jump and realize, oh, this is about sales. And then there's the people that jump and but understand that it's actually about a sale that turns into a relationship that's built that turns into a referral. And so
that's a
like,
whole other level.
And that's level 3, right? That's the holy grail. Is like, I understand now that I'm in the people business, but I got to make sales. I have to make phone calls to get a people. And then when I get a people, then I can build a relationship. Right. So anyway, tell me, did you expand on that a little bit? Tell me what you think.
Well, you got to get a person like Matt. He has to say yes to an appointment with you. Then he has to say yes to listing with you. Then you have to exceed his expectations. Then he falls in love with you and tells everybody about you. That's the game. So you're not just chasing a sale. You're building a relationship based on your professionalism. And that's what we need. We need professionalism in our industry. And here's the good news. The good news is we have about 20% of our industry who are really good. I mean, they're very impressive. They do ethical work. They work hard. They always put their clients first. They remember that they are a fiduciary, not a manipulator. They understand that sometimes the right thing to do is to do nothing. So we have 20% who are really good at this. We have 80% that is a mix of dabblers, people who dabble in the business, people who do it on the side, and they'll work when they feel like it. And we have another group who think this is about paperwork. They think the broker needs somebody to fill out the paperwork, and they're still going to get a percentage of the sale. So we're an industry in need of professionalism. By the way, we're not lacking it. We have it. It's just, it has been diluted by some of the people who should not be in it.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's well said. And I think, you know, understanding these tiers, which I've never actually, in all my years in the industry, I don't think I've had a conversation quite like this where we, you know, delineated it so well. And actually, I think there's a fourth level to aspire to, that almost nobody ever reaches. And I would call that the flywheel, where you get so good, so proficient, so often referred, and so famous that it's just coming at you so fast. The opportunities are coming at you so fast. And I think I wanted to talk about that because I think it's interesting for people to even aspire to that, even to understand that that's a thing that happens. And then for those who get there, to have the discipline and the selflessness to, not start thinking that, it's your greatness that's doing that, like understanding that, oh, it's just the flywheel effect. It's not that I'm the second coming. It's that, I've reached this place. And so, for the two people listening to this that might have reached that level, I think that's an important thing to understand.
But do you know why? What happens to them? Here's what happens to them. And I've worked with a lot of them that are really awesome. Meaning they get to a place where they become such a strong magnet for business. It's not even funny. They're so good. And by the way, they are good. Here's what the problem is. They abandon their prospecting. They say, I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have, they used to have habits in the morning where they check the MLS, they check their list of calls. They'll go, dude, I've arrived. I don't have to do any of that. And that's when, by the way, young agents, new agents listening to us right now, this is how you eat their lunch, because they become so enamored with their story, they don't realize that you, the young North Carolinian agents, can eat their lunch by asking for business, by prospecting, by having a plan, by time blocking, by being held accountable. So this is why I love this business. Any new agents can go out there and catch bluefin tuna. Anyone, but you have to have the consistency to do it.
That's real, man. I love that. And, it's fun to turn that conversation that way. And I think, let's be honest, of the people listening to this podcast, the vast majority are going to be on the underdog side of that conversation. And, I love that analogy of, any team can beat any team on any given day. And that's why we play. That's why we roll the dice, And I remember when I was first starting out as an agent a million years ago, and, when you go up against that big gun, it's like, look, hey, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Seller. I'm a new guy. I'm a young guy, but you know what? I'm going to give this 1,000% of my attention, and I'm going to bleed and sweat and make sure that this thing gets, done. And, you don't want to hire the big guy because you're just going to be a number with them, and, that side of it. So take that ball for a second, Key. Like, coach me if I'm the new guy.
So first of all, don't tell them you're a new person.
Well, I'm just saying, if it's obvious.
Yeah. By the way, if you're new to real estate, those of you listening to me who are brand new in real estate, don't talk in terms of I, talk in terms of we. You're part of a brokerage. You have your broker. Don't talk about your ego. Talk about that you're part of this great brokerage that you work for. Let's say in Asheville, let's say in Wilmington, let's say in Charlotte. You are part of this great brokerage, and your brokerage will hold you accountable, and that you have systems. You're not just working with me, you're working with all of us. We all work together. So put your ego aside and become part of a team, because really, a real estate transaction is a team. You have the listing side, you have the buyer side, you have the home inspectors, you have the appraisers, you have the mortgage companies. No one closes a deal by themselves. Let's put that ego aside. It's a team effort, and communication is your superpower.
That is so well said. That's right. And when I first got in the business, I went to work for a major brand that had incredible training and support, and a lot of agents. And in my home market, they were dominant. And so that's exactly what I did. And I think that's incredible advice. When you get further along in your career, you can make all kinds of other choices and become a broker yourself, or whatever the thing is that you do. But yeah, I mean, it's, leaning on that big brand maybe, and that bigger organization. And, that makes total sense. Well, Key, I want to ask you some questions about, kind of where we are in the state of the business. And, obviously we're seeing all kinds of changes coming out of DC. A lot of those things are not stable yet. But, what is your advice to people when they ask you like, well, Key, what do we do? Like, what's new? Or what do we do with this new environment that we're in?
Well, if you have been passive, meaning guaranteed a commission, there's a reckoning coming in August. Let's just be honest about it. Here's what I tell every agent who has been a good buyer's agent: become a listing agent. And here's what I mean by that. Not just to get listing. A listing agent who knows her job really well has learned to ask to be paid. At the end, they have a signature and a compensation discussed, right? You have to discuss the compensation, which is the listing agreement, and you have a signature. We need to teach that to our agents on the buyer side. It is not something to be scared of. I welcome it. Bring it. You need to level up your professionalism. You need to go to a buyer looking to buy, let's say in Raleigh, and you want to let them know what you will do for them and what your brokerage will do for them in order to secure a great home in Raleigh and not be taken advantage of. So we're going to make sure that everything lines up, and you got to give them checklist, and then you're going to ask to be paid. You cannot say, I work for free because the seller pays for it. Those days are over. Mm-hmm. And I don't think this is bad news, Matt. I actually think this is good news, because then the professionals, and that, by the way, there are some great professional buyer's agents, are going to level up. Most of them are taking ABR. Most of them are getting their ducks in a row. They know it's coming. The rest of them, the dabblers, the one who just show homes on the weekend, I call them the Uber for free. Those who do that on the weekend, it's going to be rough for them.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, when I got into business, I went to work for big brokerage, had an incredible broker, and she was such a powerful personality. And, I was just a loose cannon, wild, arrogant, slightly less arrogant or slightly more arrogant than I am now. And, but we were taught then, how to do by our brokerage agreement. It was mandated by our brokerage. Like, you did not walk in and talk about being in a car with a buyer without having that in place. And so we had that discipline, even though it was the exception. But, that built a perspective in me of like, how would you not be in business this way with these, just gambling, with these customers like that. And so, I think, like you said, it's going to flush some people out, but it's just upping the game for everybody, which we all say we want.
We do, Matt, we do want that. The professionals in this industry want that. The people who do this for a living full time, they want that. Now, of course, it's going to take a change, because you used to do it a certain way for 40, 50 years, and now you have to adapt. But come on, this is why God gave us this brain, gave us a smile and a brain. That means we can adapt. We're adaptable. We've been adapting all along. We just don't like change. It's just human nature. We like to be predictable. We like things that are predictable. But guess what? The professionals always adapt. It's those who on the sidelines, who don't have a plan, who do not run this business like a business, are the ones who actually hurt by the way, they hurt the industry, but also they're the one who are going to be having to deal with, do I belong? And it's fine not to belong. It is fine not to do real estate. It's fine. Mm-hmm. We don't want to become Florida, where every cousin and uncle has a license. I mean, everybody has a license. I think it's mandatory. You move to Florida, you get a real estate license. I think that's part of your driver's license. You get driver's license, real estate license at the same time.
Maybe they could make that change where as long as you just get your driver's license, like that copy that works as a real estate license in Florida. Obviously no shade on Florida.
No, absolutely not. No. But I'm just saying, if you look at the numbers, That's what they are. But I have a lot of friends who are real professionals in Florida, in every state. The problem is not the industry. The problem is we need to raise professionalism. That doesn't mean we need more people. I'll give you an example. Did you know that in the last 30 years, if you average the number of existing homes sold every year, it's 5 million. 5 million listings a year. You can average it. You can go back 30 years. That number has been steady. 5 million listings existing sold every year. I'm talking about residential. I'm not talking about land. Now think about this. About 10 years ago, we had about 800,000 agents. Right now, we have 1.5 million realtors and 2.1 million licensed agents in the United States. And the number of transactions has not changed. So I'm telling you, what I'm trying to say is getting more people into the industry does not solve the problem of the industry. Getting more professionals, now you're doing something special. You're taking care of the communities, you're taking care of the sellers, the buyer, you become a fiduciary, you become a real estate advisor, not a manipulator, not somebody who's looking for the lowest hanging fruit. You become somebody who runs your business like a business.
No, I totally agree. And it's funny the way organized real estate is built. Everybody from the broker to even the MLS, and the association, all of those businesses are incentivized by member count. And so, no shade on any of them either. But the reality is those businesses are all built on member count. And so there's always been this encouragement to increase member count. And the reality is that is counter to what, the piece that you and I are talking about. So it's interesting how that pressure on professionalism that's coming now, I think it's all going to be a good thing when it shakes out.
Yep, I am welcoming it. I am not afraid of it. The people I work with, who I coach one-on-one, we are planning that, making sure that we're doing what we need to do now, not when it happens. And the DOJ has made it very clear. They're saying this collusion, they call it collusion. I'm not using that term. They're calling it that. This collusion between buyer's agents and listings agents or seller's agent, that needs to stop. You need to have the two separate. A buyer represent the buyer and gets paid. A seller represent the seller and gets paid. And you settle it at the closing. When you make an offer, that's where you put it there. I think our state is better prepared because we have better rules in North Carolina at holding people accountable than many states. So our state is actually ready for this change. There are other states who are not. I'm not going to name them.
Well, I'm excited about
states who are not.
No, it's going to be an interesting, and so much change coming, but Keith, thank you so much. This has been an incredible conversation. And I think I can say that you're the best coach, trainer, anything in North Carolina that I've ever interviewed, because you're so far the only one in North Carolina. But no, I think you're amazing. How do people find you and your wonderful services, Keith?
If you can't find the YouTube of mine, then you don't know how to look for me. You just Google me, YouTube me, whatever you want to do. It was good to be with you, Matt. I love the conversation. I know what your passion is, and God bless you. Keep at it.
Thanks, man. We appreciate you. And guys, we'll see you back here real soon on the Triangle Real Estate Podcast. See you guys soon.